call to order, or back to order, the City Council meeting of November 19, 2014. We've just finished a closed session. Before we begin this meeting, I'm going to turn the time over to the City Clerk. We suspended the rules at last council meeting, and she will describe the meeting as it will proceed from this point forward.
Okay, for me to read this, I'm going to read that's on the agenda, and I might look like an old lady. Notice is hereby given that the City of West Jordan City Council will hold its regular meeting, City Council meeting on November 19th, 2014, in the City Council Chambers, 8000 South Redwood Road. Notice is also given that the regular meeting will be held electronically. Audio equipment will be used to ensure the comments, votes of each council member participating electronically will be audible, and those in attendance at the meeting. A council member will attend and vote via telephone. So what we have is we have Council Member Chris McConaughey. He's out of town. Chris, can you acknowledge that you hear us? Chris?
I can hear the mayor. I can barely hear you, but yes, I can hear.
So how much can you hear me? Barely? I'm going to turn it up then a little bit. Can you hear me now? Yes?
Very faintly. I could hear the mayor perfectly clear. It doesn't sound at all like it did when we did our test earlier. It sounds very, very faint this time.
Okay. Let me try this one. Because we have to make sure that you can hear us really well. I'm using your microphone now.
Okay, that's perfect.
Okay. Jeff, will you test the podium microphone? Let's see where we're going to look. As soon as I have this one going, we have to...
Chris, can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, we're set. Oh, that's not good. I don't like that. So, for those of you who will be coming up to the podium to speak for citizen comments or for a public hearing, you'll notice our podium is situated a little differently. The purpose of situating it this way was because there's some kind of connection in the floor where he can't hear us at all. So we had to use that other microphone there. So that's just a little explanation of the meeting. And Chris, the mayor has asked that as we proceed in the meeting, that he will allow each of the council members here to speak. And then once he's finished with himself and the 5 other members, that he will call on you. Does that work?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, Melanie. We will now have the Pledge of Allegiance. It will be led by Brad from Troop 490.
Will the audience please rise? Please repeat the Pledge of Allegiance with me. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The audience may be seated.
Thank you, Brad. We'll move now to communications. City Manager Rice.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 items that I'd like to just run past the council. Number 1, have you noticed in your emails the email on the Christmas party that we're having on December 3rd at Gardner Village? We invite all of you to join us for that day. There is an RSVP request, and if you click on it, it'll give you the opportunity to select your...
Sorry, Chris, because I canceled. I don't think he's there, so let me dial in real quick. Sorry. I hit the wrong button. Sorry, everybody.
Welcome to the Workday Conference Center. Sorry, you may have entered an invalid conference code or dialed an incorrect number. 5, 7, 649155669.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Please verify and try again.
Okay, sorry. This is what communications are. There.
Thank you. You will now be placed into conference. To mute your line, press *6. To unmute, press #6.
Sorry. Chris?
Sounds like you're back.
Okay, perfect. We're ready now.
Okay, Bryce.
Yeah, I did hear Bryce talking about the event on December 3rd.
Okay, so we hope that you'll be able to join us for that lunch, and just please RSVP so that Julie can have a correct count on that. The second item is, in this next budget year, as we're preparing our green sheets, we have been aware of some laws that are might possibly be changing, and a lot of judicial actions that are going against interns, and how communities or how agencies use interns. There was a large lawsuit that took place last year in Hollywood around movie sets and things. As we've been observing this and realizing how we're having our interns serve us, instead of paying a stipend, we would like to recommend that we create a consistent pay for all interns. By doing that, it would allow us to use them more fully and utilize them to a fuller capacity. Our cheapest wage that we have for our seasonal labor is $10.50 an hour. And so the reason I'm just asking is, if there's no opposition at this time or questions, we will instruct staff to make sure that as they prepare for their interns, they budget for $10.50 an hour for the period of time that they would want to have them. There'll be some changes in their budget amount. If they want to add the number of interns that they use or bring new interns that they've never had before, those will be green sheets that you'll be able to review. This is only to those that they've currently had in their budget. Is there any opposition to preparing our budgets accordingly? We feel that it will definitely save us from any possible lawsuits and hopefully get us better quality interns, because they can make a little bit of living allowance while they're helping us. So if there's no opposition, we'll have...
Just one thing, because the mayor and I met with Salt Lake Community College intern, and I think maybe you've met him.
I've met with him too.
Maybe because they have a campus in our city,
yes,
have a priority maybe.
The mayor shared that with our staff today, and they indicated that, yes, we will reach out to Salt Lake Community College and invite them with the programs that they have. But this just protects us from any potential lawsuits based on how we have them serve us. So we think it'll be better for the city overall. And the last item is that, as you are well aware, we have had a number of departments that have had to do more work than what's typically anticipated for that job. And we've had lawsuits that have required extensive time. The ERP has required extensive time. And because of that, we have a few employees that have not been able to use their comp time and vacation time fully. We have been very careful on giving the directors latitude to work with these employees to try to help them use up that time, but recognizing that it's a use or lose, and because we have put extra burden of labor on these employees, if there's no objection from you, we will allow them to put a plan together that will be reviewed by me administratively. It has to stay within their current budget that they have given. We will buy out some of that time so that it's not a lose situation. Is there any opposition? Again, it'll stay within the budget. It'll be used selectively, and it'll be approved administratively. Is there any objection to us working to satisfy that? Okay. Thank you. That's all that I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Jeff?
Nothing, Mayor.
David Oka?
Thank you, Mayor. I've been trying to place a couple of tenants in light industrial space in West Jordan as of late, but have not seen a whole lot of success for lack of any inventory out there, which is a good thing and a bad thing. I am now seeking a good developer to go out with me and look for some reasonably priced land to see if we can't get a little bit of an industrial park going. I think that's probably our shortest point between 2 points, is to find someone who can come and start doing some product like that. On the retail side, I've had a conversation with Matt Godfrey regarding the former R.C. Willey store on 90th South. And he and I are going to get together. We've got a couple ideas as to who we might go visit and try and recruit to fill that space. That's my report.
Thank you. Tom Burnett?
Thanks, Mayor and Council. A couple of things. The brochures that Bryce mentioned regarding how homeowners can make improvements to their property, self-protection for prevention of possible flooding. We've had multiple copies of those printed. They are available to, yes, Bryce has got one. We printed, I think, several hundred of those. They are available. Be happy to distribute those to any resources or meetings that the council may be attending. Second, the Roderick Enterprises building has a building permit. They're going to be constructing about 80,000 square feet on the corner of Dannon Way and Prosperity. It's spec space. That should give our economic development program some opportunities for matching with some industries. He's the same developer that developed Pheasant Hollow in Sandy, and this architecture and site design is complementary of that. So I think the council will be pleased with the outcome. Lastly, we did meet last week with Project Wineland and drilled down to a fairly significant level of detail on utilities. I think they went away pleased with the information. These are all competitive, so we don't know where we'll end up, but so far I think we've met all the data requests and satisfactorily answered all the questions they've had, and we'll continue to do so. Thank you.
Just for the council, Tom's not elaborating enough on how well our staff has handled the presentation. The entire team has been fantastic. When we've sat in those meetings, I've sat in most of them for the length of time, and I think we're really close to an announcement at some point here, but they have done fabulous. The entire team has.
It truly has been a team effort with a number of staff members taking on different components. So, yes.
It's a very large project, so we would welcome it here.
Many staff members would be thanked for that.
Thanks, Tom. Ryan Bradshaw.
Nothing tonight, Mayor.
Wendell?
I have 2 items, Mayor. The first has to do with the anti-texting program that we had discussed with you the early part of last year. If I remember right, the council approved the program, but directed us to bring back funding for it. And that funding was approved by the city manager as part of some of the extra funds that we had available last May. But I didn't realize that those were available for the program, so we didn't spend them. But we're requesting of the council approval to bring $8,000 back as a budget amendment, or as part of the budget amendment that would be done the latter part of this year, first part of next year, and wanted to see if any of you were opposed to that.
Any opposed? You're good to go.
Okay. The second thing was we wanted to let you know of our progress on the request for proposals for the stormwater projects that we've talked about. Dave Murphy and his staff have been working diligently for the last couple of weeks. We're going to be putting that request for proposals out on the street latter part of this week, early part of next week, receiving proposals on December 16th. And so the first meeting in January will bring a professional services agreement to you for approval. So we are moving forward with that.
Thank you. Chief McElreath?
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Chief Diamond?
Yes, Mayor. Mayor and Council. 2 items. I want to inform you that we have our X-ray machine that we're using for security in the court has basically bit the dust. It can be repaired. We have determined that the cost of the repair and the useful life after the repair, it's going to be worth it just for us to get a new machine that has a little bit more capability, a little bit more ability to X-ray and to put threat items up a little bit closer on the screen or to highlight them. And so we want to move forward. We think we can purchase a new machine within our current budget between the police budget and the court budget. We're not 100% sure of that yet because we're not close to the end of the year. It's about a $28,000 to $29,000 expense. And so, but it's something that we have to do. Currently, we are actually physically going through bags and stuff. The actual walk-through magnetometer still works. It's the X-ray machine that doesn't work. And so I just wanted to know if there's any opposition to moving forward with that, trying to keep that within this year's budget.
Any opposition to moving that direction?
Thank you. We'll do that. And then also, I wanted to report a little bit on the compensation committee. As you are aware, I'm the chair of the city's compensation committee. We are moving forward. We have discussed several items. The paramount thing that we're working on at this point in time is the career ladder. We're evaluating all the career ladders. We've come up with a criteria for what a career ladder should look like, or what elements it has to have to qualify as a career ladder. We're going through evaluating all the career ladders within the city and some potential other ones, new ones. We hope to have some more results back in the next few weeks and hope to be able to present some of that to you before the end of the year. So I just wanted to present that. Other things that we're still discussing and trying to get moving forward on are some of the compression issues from the 2008-2011 wage freezes. Education allowance or reimbursement for education, tuition reimbursement, basically, for that. And then we're looking at a few other items, but we're just moving down the road with those on that. We will also be looking at and preparing for the, hopefully for the strategic plan, to talk to you more in depth about things we can do for our employees, for those outstanding performers that we had talked about during when we were doing the step increases. There was a desire by the council, at least a majority of the council, to look at what can we do above and beyond what we're doing now for those very exceptional employees. So we hope to be able to bring some of those things back to you at the strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, since you'll be last to speak on every other item tonight, do you have anything that needs to be brought forward under communications for the council?
No, I don't this week. Thank you, Mayor.
Hey, thank you. Councilmember Hanson.
Nothing tonight. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Haga. Councilmember Nichols.
We're on a roll. Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Oh, wow. Councilmember Southworth.
Well, not to break the streak, but I do have 3 items. Two requests, and then one I just wanted to point out something that's a positive for our city a lot of times, and this is for the scouts maybe to pay attention to, as you're here probably talking about your citizenship, the community, and government in general. A lot of times government gets labeled as slow, inefficient, bureaucratic, and sometimes that's true. But there's other times where it's not, and I like to point those out when it's not. And I want to point to an example of that I had working with our public works. We had a few people here in Wendell, your folks. The intersection at New Bingham Highway and Airport Road, as you approach New Bingham, come off 78. When that was redone and restriped, you had to fight to get your way over the turn lane to turn left onto New Bingham. It was a friction point. I had some constituents reach out to me. I had concerns. I think members of the council had concerns about that as well. And I gave our public works folks a call and said, hey, this is the concern. Is there something we could do about it? And literally, almost the last minute when this was about to be restriped, they reviewed it, they looked at it, and they said, yeah, you know what, we can make some changes to make that more efficient and work well for the public. And that request started from a citizen who called up and said, hey, I see a problem here, and I think we could fix it by doing this. And so I just wanted to express or share that story, that you can have an impact on your community and that government can move very quick this was slated to be paid the next day, and they reviewed it and said, oh, you know what, we could make this better, and they did, and it's much better. So thank you for those folks to reach out to express concern in the community. The two items I had another call on 5600 West. With that being opened, two places of concern, 8200 South and 70th South. Somebody called me, thought this was in my district's actually in Councilman Stoker's, and I informed him of this, but the question was, what is the future of that intersection at 82 and 56? Is there a light there now that the traffic is very heavy and it's hard to get off of 82 onto 56? Number one. Number two, same question for 70th South, a very wide four-way stop. What is the future for that? I don't have to have an answer tonight, but if I'm getting some thumbs up over here, so it sounds like it's going to be addressed. But if I could just get some information, the two of us, Councilman Stoker and myself, some information that we could pass along to our constituents. Thank you. The third item that I have is there have been some significant changes taking place in our community in relation to the Chamber of Commerce. They are endeavoring on a path that is of significant change, and I, for one, support our Chamber of Commerce and support giving them the latitude to do the things that they think are best for their organization, the city as a whole. And with these changes that's taking place, I think it appropriate that this council pass a resolution of support for the strategic direction of the chamber and where they are going. Would ask that if a couple of us want to draft that and bring that back. I know we're going to meet their new president next council meeting, I believe, and I'd like to have a resolution that we could ratify stating such to the community at whole at our next council meeting. Bryce, I don't want to throw this on anybody. I could volunteer myself to draft something, or if we think, if you've got staff that could draft something and pass to the council for consideration as well.
And if I understand correctly, it's a resolution of support?
A resolution of support. You're well aware, being on the board of the changes and the direction that the chamber is going in, saying we wholeheartedly support the chamber moving forward, and we'll do what we can to be good partners in the community, with the business community as a city, and want to continue a strong direction for the chamber and the city. Something to that.
We will prepare that. If you'd like, I'll be glad to send you a draft so that you can let me know if it meets your needs. So, yeah.
Yes, thank you. And then for our next council meeting, if we could get that on the agenda, Melanie, for our next council meeting to be considered and ratified, if so be. Okay, thank you. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Councilmember Stoker. I have three things tonight. First, the Utah Transportation Coalition is asking for financial support in the amount of $3,000 to help support expanding funding for the local transportation. Locally, there's many proposals that are going to the league as part of this. Salt Lake Chamber's driving this as well. This is to support the local BNC road funds. There's, like I said, there's several proposals. I don't know which one we would support here. I'm not a fan of the local sales tax option myself. It seems like that puts the pressure on us as a council to decide if we want to raise a local sales tax. I think that it needs to be handled globally within the state, but they're asking for $3,000. We would have to bring this back before I can sign their. Would you like to have this on the agenda for the 3rd? Yes.
Can you, Mayor, will you restate who the organizing? Did you say Utah Transit Authority or Utah Transportation?
No, this is the Utah Transportation Coalition.
Okay.
And the Utah League of Cities and Towns, Salt Lake Chamber, COG. Everyone's they're looking for support from the cities on this. And they're asking for financial support.
In regard to holistic transportation?
It is, yes.
Okay, not one.
But yeah. The part that we would be concerned about would be the local transportation additions to BNC road funds. Anyone opposed to putting this on the agenda for approval next?
Just so there's a little more clarification, this is I think a movement for tax increases on either on sales tax or gasoline. So as long as we have all the information before we support it, but I don't have a problem bringing it back. Because we're talking about supporting a coalition that might be representing us on tax increases.
They will be in some fashion representing us. So we'll bring it back and have more discussion, and they're asking for $3,000. So the next thing would be the Planning Commission has 2 spots that will become vacant, and we need to have some time to interview the candidates, and we need to have it done by the 1st of the year. So Arlene's asked if we could have a date when we could meet and interview the candidates.
Oh, wait, I'm going to use this microphone. If I can just chime in, the last meeting of December, which is best, I'm not sure if, because then our first meeting in January isn't until the 7th, and the Planning Commission meets the 6th. So our City Council meeting is the 17th of December. So if you can coordinate the interviews prior to that?
So it really has to be prior to that, right?
Well, have we gone through a nomination process on this?
Well, there's been an application. There's been several applications turned in, yes.
They just have been thrown out.
And this, I know the past few years it's been the entire council. That hasn't been in the past. There's always been 3 members of the council, and then that's on a rotating basis. Do you feel strongly that we still need to have the entire council, minus 1, of course, because it's, but involved in that process, or prior to just recently it was just 3 members of the council that were on the nomination committee, and that rotated rather than trying to get 6 members of the council all together to do that. That's another option that that I participated in before. So I need to get a weigh in on that. If we want to go with the 6, or if 3 are sufficient, and then we'll rotate it each year. I guess that's the first question. Is 3 sufficient, and we'll rotate it so that everyone gets an opportunity to participate as these come open? Yes, Councilor?
I've appreciated the opportunity to be involved. I think more involvement we have is good. Not everybody can do these, and somebody has to be left out. So whether we draw straws or what have you, but I think it's good to have more involvement. I would advocate for at least 6 of us interviewing.
Okay. So give me a date between now and the 17th, and all 6 of us can...
Keep with our tradition of Wednesdays. We have that off Wednesday the 10th. Would that work?
No, but I could be the one that's out.
Does it work for everyone else? Chris, would that work for you, the 10th, to do interviews?
Yes, the 10th would work. And if I could make a quick side comment, in the time that I've been on council so far, I've been the one who has not been able to participate because we've either done the 3 or had the 1 out. So I very much look forward to having a chance to participate this time around. So wholeheartedly support the idea of the 6 minus the 1, and yes, the 10th of December would work for me.
So can everyone else, with the exception of Councilmember Nichols, be here on 6 o'clock on the 10th to do interviews?
And for the record, the reason I won't be here is I'm doing my official duties on the water board. I will be in Las Vegas.
Okay. So that works out. So there's 6 members. Okay. That'll work. The last thing I just wanted to state that on Veterans Day, I attended a veterans program at Falcon Ridge Elementary, and I can tell you that I don't know that I've ever seen a program dedicated to veterans any better than what I witnessed that day. It was awesome. So I just want to let y'all know that it was truly awesome. With that, we will move now to citizens' comments. I have 3 signed up to speak. First one, Carrie Cahoon. As a reminder, you'll have 3 minutes to speak. on any subject you'd like.
Mayor, council members, I'm Kerry Cahoon. I live at 6843 South, Running Springs Drive. I come to thank you personally, Mayor, and Brock Hudson in regards to checking into the mink branch problem we're having with the smell and the fly situation over there. And I also want to submit a petition by the residents and the small businesses and that we feel that the odor over there, the stench and the fly population is so poor that we can't use our backyards for barbecuing. We can't sit outside or anything like that. And we just feel that people should be aware of this, and we'd like something done as far as the stench goes. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Joe Colosimo.
Joe Colosimo, 155 West Malvern Avenue. I come again tonight to once again thank the city and the staff, and especially the neighbors for all their valuable input on my project at Gardner Station. I truly think the process has made it a much better project, and it's really enlightened me in all the angles and the support that I've gotten from the neighbors and the city and the staff. So I wanted to thank you for that. I also wanted to let the City Council know that we do support the recommended motion in the packet, so we look forward to a decision tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Alexandra Efremo.
Mayor and Council, I'm 82. I'm not going to be able to be here for the next 100 years. So I'd like to propose to the Council to please, they do it in other cities. The U.S. Supreme Court said it's okay to have a prayer or something like that before the Council. So I'm suggesting that we start rotating the Council to say this prayer. And it's not really, it doesn't say God, it doesn't have anything, it just talks about your mental health. So I would like you to please start thinking about rotating and doing this rather than me, but I'm going to do it tonight. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, may we pause for a moment to reflect upon our common goals before we begin the business of this meeting. We are privileged to gather here together in a system that gives us freedom to participate in our own governance, whether from within or through the strength provided by our personal faith. We seek wisdom, understanding, fairness, and resolve in the fulfillment of our duties and in the pursuance of our goals. May our differences be respected and our common aspiration of promoting the public good be our guide in carrying out the tasks we are about to undertake. Thank you. Now, I'm 1,000,000% against Ordinance 1411. We have been through this Gardner Village thing since the beginning of the year, and I do not like to be threatened by any legal little flotation clouds saying, don't you do this, we want this ordinance. I feel we should stand up. Please remember 7800 South, the traffic at Gardner Village. That traffic there does not just go before Gardner Village. It goes all the way east, all the way west. If you see that traffic on 7800 South, it's terrible. And I have gone up and down 13th, and I can't tell you how many. There are no sidewalks. All of a sudden, there's one little sidewalk, and then there's another one. I'm against high density. You all remember the strategic planning, the beginning of the year. We were not going to have any high density buildings. And now, are we being hypocritical? Are we now saying it's okay? We know the two previous developers that wanted to develop that land decided not to because of the soil content. I want somebody to give me a copy and tell me about, has the soil changed? I don't think so. And I think we all, that is, to go forth with this proposition and what they have, it's like a claustrophobic 20 units per acre. That is abominable. I can't believe it. I told Mr. Oka, on 45th 100 South, I saw some beautiful little townhomes. It was gorgeous. It made me feel happy looking at them. This process that we're going through, I pray to heaven you all turn it down. We need something of a smaller, that we can breathe when we go by, that we can see, and so we can see our mountains. Those buildings are an atrocity. Anyway, I thank you very much, and God loves us all.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on an item this evening? We do have 2 public hearings tonight. If you're here to speak on those, there will be time allowed later. Please state your name. You'll have 3 minutes. Name and address.
Kelvin Green, 7707 Battlefield Cove. You know that I'm not going to miss an opportunity to talk about Station at Gardner Village at City Council, so you're stuck with me. Although I'm going to tell you that I am not here to oppose, like I have in the past, the development of Station at Gardner Village. I looked at the plans, we've worked with the developer, and we think there's a solution there that works for the city. I have to tell you, from my perspective, somebody pushed the button. From my perspective, I hate apartments. I hate high-density apartments. But that decision was made a long time ago by this council when it was zoned PC, and I'm not sure that we can fight it. There were some things that I think we could fight, and those have been fixed in this process, and I think this will be a decent project for the community. If you didn't know, we know that Mr. Colosimo filed a lawsuit against the city. If you didn't know, there were residents that were perfectly willing and ready to also litigate this against the city. And it is not in the city's best interest for any of us to pursue litigation over this, particularly when we can get a good project. If you're not aware, we've gone from no commercial space to, in 2 phases, 23,000 square feet of commercial space. There are trails that connect the neighborhood, along with pedestrian bridge that connects the neighborhood to Gardner Village. I lost the name there. And so what I'm going to encourage you to do is vote for the resolution tonight to approve this project. What I do hope this council will also do is approve the CDA so that we can use some of the funding and the tax increment financing to beef up the infrastructure that needs to be fixed, particularly a couple of the sidewalks and some road widening in the neighborhood. Last but not least, this project has shown us that there are some serious flaws in the city ordinances, particularly regarding the PC zoning, and some parts of the TSOD. I will be approaching a couple of you, or more than a couple of you, that maybe we can sit down and work through some issues that are in the city ordinance to fix these so that we don't have, I'm going to say this, that we don't have this kind of nonsense happen again, that we can actually come to some decent resolution long before we get to this stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak on?
Hi, Joe Long, 1100 West, 7800 South. I'm here on behalf of Gardner Village, and just wanted to let you know that we have brought forward and executed a development agreement that was proposed by city attorney in regards to limiting high density on the corner that will be remaining at 7800 South and 13th West. And that was part of the resolution that came when working with the neighbors. And Calvin, thank you for your comments this evening in support of the project and coming to a resolution and getting the neighbors on board with this project. And we obviously like your approval and support this evening. And we'd like your approval and support on this. I know it hasn't been agreed to, but we look forward to you approving this at your next meeting and I'll hand this off to Mr. Thorpe on my way out. So thank you.
Thank you. Please come forward.
Do I dare touch it? Michelle Foote, 1252 West Lucky Cove, West Jordan. First of all, I just really want to thank the Colossimos and the Longs for working so well with us to find a solution that feels good. You know, kind of like what Kelvin said, it's not like we really want apartments, but we respect and understand that that's what it's zoned for. And when I look at these new plans and think back in my mind for the last 2 years over the various plans that we've seen and reviewed, I love the look of the new plans. I absolutely am thrilled with the amount of retail space and commercial space that is there now compared to the none that we started with. I think there are trails. It's a beautiful project and it's a beautiful property, and I'm actually, dare I say, excited to see it coming to our neighborhood. I don't speak for all of my neighbors. There are some that would prefer there to not be any sort of development there whatsoever, but in my personal opinion, this is a win for us as a community. I think it's a good project and that it will be an enhancement to our city, and I think that was the goal all along when it was rezoned to become a planned community, and I think we've finally succeeded in creating what the intent of the council was back then when they rezoned it. I also support the creation of a CDA to make sure that some of those enhancements that are necessary along 1300 and 78th will be able to be implemented. I don't know, I want to invite the Colossimos to consider the creation of a deli in their retail space, that we would support that. That sounds very appealing. Anyway, I encourage the council to hear the citizens and to understand that while we may have had different opinions all along, and we've been in opposition to this project for over 2 years, I think we finally have a project that we can support, and I encourage you to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please come forward.
Ben Watson, 7680 South, 1530 West. And let's hope that this is the last time that we have to be in this venue for this particular topic. And I want to echo Michelle and Kelvin's comments regarding the process that got us to this point tonight. And yes, there are compromises that can be made. I made reference several months ago to the process of making sausage, and it's something that you don't want to watch in process. Well, in participating in that process with the Colossimos and with members of the council, sometimes the result can be pretty appealing. So this is a good project as it stands now. There are regrets along the way, and this has been an education, I think, for many of you. Certainly it has been for me and us in the community. I regret the fact that we couldn't work with the Colossimos, and they felt that they needed to go with the tactic of trying to bully the council, but I suspect that that's more about their attorney than about the Colossimos, as we've been able to work out with them. That said, I would look forward to the passage of the CDA so that that tax increment revenue can stay here and can benefit those members of the community that surround this development, as well as the members of the community that will be joining us by living in that community. And I think this can be a valuable project. Councilman Southworth, you talked about the process of government sometimes working slowly and sometimes working very quickly, and you gave very specific examples of city staff making that happen. I would hope, because I think that's been some of the stickiness in the gears of government here, some of the challenges in working with staff, I would hope that perhaps the council will look to address some of those issues when it comes to working with developers, specifically on the areas of how do we address developers and their rights to come back with additional plans, which has been an issue in this particular case. All in all, however, I think, and I've stood here several times talking about, let's do the right thing for West Jordan. Let's make this the best possible development it can be, because development is inevitable. We know that. But with concerted effort in working together as citizens, developers, and the city council and the government, we can, and I think this proves that we can come to reasonable accommodations and reasonable negotiations for something that is in the best interest of West Jordan. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak? Citizens' comments? Seeing none, I will close the citizens' comments portion of the agenda and move to consent items. Councilmember Southworth.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Southworth and a second by Councilmember Nichols. Discussion of the motion? Seeing none, let's vote.
Councilmember Stoker? Yes. Councilmember Southworth?
Aye.
Mayor Rolfe?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Hanson?
Yes.
Councilmember Haga?
Yes.
Councilmember McConaughey?
Aye.
Vote passes 7 in favor.
Okay, we will move to public hearing item 7A. This was continued from October 22nd, 2014. Receive public input and consider for approval Resolution 14-215 regarding the FEMA mitigation plan update. Chief McElwee.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. You have in your packet the actual copy of the West Jordan mitigation plan. Also emailed to you, I believe, late yesterday or today, another brief overview that Deputy Chief Reed Sharman put together, as he's been the one that's worked on this mitigation plan. Tonight's purpose is to have the public hearing as part of the process to get this adopted. I'll leave that. Which direction we go from here? Chief Sharman is here to answer any questions that you might have, or go through that document that he emailed. Or if you have specific questions, he can answer those. So we're at whichever direction you would like to go, Mayor.
Are there any questions on this item from Council? Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. Just briefly, Chief, Deputy Chief, either way. When I was reading through it, the only question I was left with was, do we have support of FEMA as we move forward on this plan? I mean, because it looked like it was maybe the reason we came up with this plan is because they didn't support us before. Is that right?
We'll let Chief Sharman answer that for you.
Councilmember Nichols, to answer your question directly, yes. What happened, our current plan was developed 5 years ago through Wasatch Front Regional Council, and that plan got very broad and encompassing. When it was done, FEMA was not particularly pleased with it, didn't feel that it really met what was needed, but so much work had gone into it that they looked to this cycle for it to be restored. We've actually submitted our plan, and you'll note that we're Section Q because we're Annex Q of the county's plan. So all of the entities within the county are in one plan. It's been submitted to the state. The state has reviewed it and came back with no exceptions to what we have done as a draft.
Great, thank you.
Chris, did you have any questions?
No, I did not. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Reed. We will now open the public hearing portion of this item. Is there anyone wishing to address the council on item 7A? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing portion and look for a motion. Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we adopt Resolution 14-215. Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Nichols and a second by Councilmember Stoker. Discussion of the motion? Seeing none, let's vote.
Councilmember Haga?
Yes.
Councilmember Stoker?
Yes.
Councilmember McConaughey?
Aye.
Councilmember Southworth?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Mayor Rolfe?
Yes.
Councilmember Hanson?
Yes.
The vote passes 7 in favor.
Okay, public hearing, item 7B, receive public input and consider for approval ordinance 14-35, amending the 2009 West Jordan Municipal Code, Title 4, Chapter 2, adding a new Article U entitled Residential Treatment Facilities, and Title 13, Chapter 8, deleting Special Residential Facilities, and other miscellaneous changes to Title 13, citywide applicability, City of West Jordan applicant. Tom Burdette.
Mayor and Council, as we've looked at the facilities that have been developed recently and compared those with state law, there are some changes that we should make to our code in both the section regarding zoning and the section for business licensing or licensing in general of these facilities that keep us in conformance with recent trends. I'll turn the time over to Robert Thorup, who's put together most of the research and effort for these amendments.
Mayor and the City Council, if you've had a chance to look at your staff report, it really is trying to tell the story, so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions from council? Chris, do you have any question?
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, we will open the public hearing portion of item 7B. Is there anyone from the public wishing to be heard on this item? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing portion and look for a motion. Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a quick question. I was a little late. I'm sorry about that, Rob. Just a quick question, and I might roll it right into a motion. Regarding this, the net effect, I mean, the staff report is very good, so thank you very much on that. But what leaves me lingering, or leaves lingering in my mind, is what's the net effect? Are we going to see more of these homes now suddenly coming in as a result of this? Are we creating, based on the fact that other cities still have ordinances that were as stringent as ours, maybe more stringent, will the actualization of this ordinance basically create us, or make us be the place where everybody's going to want to develop, since we don't have those ordinances as strict?
That's really impossible to say, Councilman. I think it's fair to say that from what we've experienced, if there is another city that is as strict or stricter than we are, they would expect to have a call from the Attorney General's office, and they might come to the same conclusion that we're coming to.
All right. I was afraid that's we're basically blazing a trail as a result of litigation, and I understand that.
Well, we're not really blazing a trail. We're really coming into conformance with the trail that's already been blazed. Right. And if we don't do this, we'll be at risk of having an adverse decision against us. So.
All right. With that in mind, Mayor.
No, he has the floor.
I was just going to make a motion. If he has a question, I'll defer it to the councilman.
Yeah, just we talked about this in closed doors, and I'm still a little concerned about discrimination against people of mental capacity. Is that what this is intended to do, to limit people living in our city with mental disorders?
Now, what these amendments are trying to do is to eliminate some barriers that we put up a couple of years ago, thinking that we might be in compliance at that time. Those barriers were a fairly large zone separating facilities, so it would basically become a cap on how many facilities you could fit into the city. A fairly broad noticing requirement, which is perceived in the industry as causing unpleasant clamor against people with disabilities, and the conditional use process, which because of its noticing and hearings sometimes turns into a situation where people with disabilities are criticized. So we think that all of these changes are in aid of people with disabilities, providing them with more opportunities to find residential facilities, and also through the business licensing, having the city become aware of these facilities and hoping that the facilities would be managed in a way to minimize some of the adverse impacts that could come to neighborhoods.
I do have a question.
Councilmember Southwood.
Just make sure I got my head wrapped around this correctly. The changes that the city made in prior years. We had a certain institution that was not in compliance with that, and we brought legal action against that, in which another organization stepped in on their behalf, and we heard from the Attorney General's office, right? We received some pressure from them. Now, it's not that they filed suit against us, correct? We just have opinions from the Attorney General's office that our code may not be in line with their interpretation of law.
To be accurate, we filed the lawsuit.
Correct. And that's the distinction I want to make.
Yeah.
It's not that we're under threat of lawsuit.
Yeah, we filed the lawsuit, what's called a declaratory judgment. We wanted the court to declare that we were okay. And that was what prompted the Attorney General's office and the Disability Law Center to be in touch with us and say they were very much opposed to what we were doing, and caused us to make a new look at what the law would require.
And it is accurate also to say that where we were at, where we're positioned currently today, is on par with some other cities, maybe more aggressive than others, correct?
That's correct, and what we've learned is that although you can find more restrictive provisions in some cities' ordinances, we have found, as a practical matter, they're not enforcing them.
Right. So would it be accurate to say then that should this be passed, we will scale that back? Basically, that's what we're doing.
That's correct.
Just a quick comment, and I don't want to wait for the motion, but I'm just not certain I'm ready to, well, I don't want to say too much, but I'm not sure I'm ready to do this just yet. But that's to the council, not sorry, Bob, not to you.
Any other questions for? Oh, okay. A motion would be in order. Councilmember Stoker.
I move that we approve ordinance 14-35 based upon the staff report and the testimony we've heard.
We have a motion.
I'll second it.
A motion by Councilmember Stoker and a second by Councilmember Hanson. Discussion to the motion. Okay, Councilmember Higgins.
Although I've read this and I approve most all of it, the part that disturbs me the most, and I'll probably be opposed to it, is, the limiting of people with disabilities. And that's all I'm going to say. I mean, somebody that's disabled many times is not a threat to the community. Some of these other issues where they're drug related and things like that, I can see us changing and limiting, but I still have a problem with people that have disabilities and limiting their ability to live in our city anywhere they want, really. So I'll oppose the motion. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Southwood.
Thank you, Mayor. I will be in opposition to this only because I think Councilman Nichols alluded to the fact that, and I don't have anything to base this as fact, but I fear that by scaling back, from where other cities are, we may inadvertently become a magnet for these type of things, and I wouldn't want to scale much further back than where other cities are. And so I would be opposed to. I don't want to see an increase in these type of facilities. That's my fear, and I can't substantiate that anything other than a hunch, and so I'll be opposed to it.
Councilmember Stoker.
Just for clarification, this whole item here, the amendments to our ordinance, is to remove discriminations that were in our code. It actually supports people with disabilities, not inhibits them. And so, I mean, I think it says it really well in section 1, where it says the proposed amendments do three things. First, the special provisions dealing with spacing and noticing are repealed. So we're getting rid of the provisions that we had put upon these group homes. And then second, the definitions of various special residential facilities are adjusted to be more consistent and generally reduce the size of the small residential facilities, allowing for greater opportunities to the homes. And so I think there may have been some confusion, but this item that we're hearing here is to remove some of those discrimination items in support of people with disabilities. And I see the city attorney nodding. I'm hoping that's the case.
I was getting ready to raise my hand to comment because that is in fact what we're trying to do. We're removing restrictions rather than placing restrictions. So,
Councilmember Hagan.
Just to point out, and again, there's a lot of good things about this, or I think maybe we tweak it more. But when you take a disability home that requires supervision and strike all that out, you're limiting the supervision that many of these disability people know. If you look, you're striking a line that says we're going to limit it to 6 people but with disabilities, and then you strike out that they require assistance. You're basically limiting, taking out a group of homes that I know about and how they work that require supervision of a certain type of disability. And that's all. Again, I'm just going to pull the motion. I'm not asking to debate with the staff, Mayor. So.
well, if you'd like a clarification, Mr. Thorpe is prepared to do that. I think that there's a misunderstanding about what that provision does. But if you want it.
I'm done.
Chris, do you have anything on this issue?
I do, thank you, Mayor. Although I agree with parts, there are other parts that I disagree with, so at this point I'll be against the motion. Instead of getting into specifics at a high level, I would say that although we have a couple legal opinions suggesting that we may need to change what we have, we've also heard some of those, one of those same legal entities provide direction or act on behalf of the state in a manner that was ultimately decided against by the court. So although they may not be supporting us and may be encouraging us to change, I think I would rather wait for a final word from the courts before making all of these changes. That said, there are some I would be in favor of, such as the second and third items that are discussed here in the staff report. But the spacing and notice are the ones that I really have a hard time completely repealing. So at this point, I would be opposed to the motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thanks. Let's vote.
Councilmember McConaughey?
No.
Councilmember Hanson?
Yes.
Councilmember Haga?
No.
Mayor Rawl?
Yes.
Councilmember Southworth?
No.
Councilmember Stoker?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
No.
Vote fails 3-4.
Did you get?
That was one of those. Anything else? Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move that, well, my opposition is more for timing. I really like second and third provisions that were mentioned in this. It's the first, it's all about the timing. And, you know, with respect to what was said earlier, I just say in passing this ordinance as is with timing, I do think we are blazing the trail, opening the door, whereas others have distance requirements and now we are removing those. That's where my concern is. And so I would like to move that we postpone this discussion. Actually, we can even put this to a date uncertain, that we bring this back at the first of the year, January or February, with the verbiage as stated. And it will give us time to review it if there's anything that we need to tweak.
That's your motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilmember Nichols and a second by Councilmember Haga. Discussion of the motion? Councilmember Stoker.
Yeah, I think that the proposal before us brings us in line with what we legally can do. And you know, I respect that we need to be careful that we are not opening the floodgates, but you know, as been mentioned, it appears that other cities that might have some of these discriminatory practices aren't enforcing them anyways. I would prefer to be a house of order that has laws and we follow them, than to have laws and not follow them, or to have rules that put us at risk with the state and federal laws. So I would support moving forward with removing those discriminatory provisions from our code and bringing us in line with where we ought to be.
I agree with Councilmember Stoker on this issues. And voting accordingly. Let's vote.
Mayor Rawl?
No.
Councilmember Haga?
Yes.
Councilmember Stoker?
No.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember McConaughey?
Aye.
Councilmember Hanson?
No.
Councilmember Southworth?
Aye.
Vote passes 4-3.
Okay. We've got direction to bring it back. Moving on to business item 8A. Discussion and direction for staff regarding an amendment to the future land use map for the general plan and the official zoning map to delete approximately 10.21 acres of land located at 7653 through 7655 south, 1300 west from the TSOD designation boundaries. Tom Burdette.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. This is just a business item to give staff direction. One of the items that came through the discussions with the neighborhood regarding the Gardner Station development was the boundary of the TSOD. And the neighbors brought forward a suggestion through the council members that the TSOD boundary should probably stop coincidentally with the development of the Gardner Station, and therefore maintain a preservation of the neighborhood to the north of the area. The area in question is designated as low density on the general plan future land use map, and it's currently zoned half-acre rural residential. So with that in mind, we just wanted to make sure that we didn't launch out on any changes to the general plan future land use map without council direction. Thank you.
Questions or a motion would be in order? Or discussion?
Simultaneously.
Okay. Councilmember Southworth.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Southworth and a second by Councilmember Nichols. Discussion to this item. Seeing none, let's vote.
Councilmember Southworth?
Aye.
Councilmember McConaughey?
Aye.
Councilmember Hanson?
Yes.
Councilmember Stoker?
Yes.
Councilmember Haga?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Mayor Rolfe?
Yes.
Vote passes 7 in favor.
Business item 8B, discussion and possible action regarding ordinance 14-11, ratification of the preliminary development plan for the station at Gardner Mill and establish a multi-family density of 20.29 units per acre for the property located at approximately 7659 South, 1300 West, PC TSOD zone, Colosimo Brothers applicant. Tom Burdette.
Thanks, Mayor. Some events have taken place since the council last reviewed the plans, and I'll summarize those very quickly. There are 5 conditions recommended for the ratification of the density. Those 5 conditions include a building height no greater than 58 feet, installation of a center left turn lane on 1300 West at the north access to the Gardner Station project area from 1300 West, installation of a right turn, deceleration and acceleration lanes at the same north access to 1300 West, installation of a 4 to 6 foot wide sidewalk to Gardner Station, including a pedestrian bridge over the North Jordan Canal if that becomes necessary, and a development agreement with Gardner Village to restrict the multifamily from the remnant corner parcel. And that will be brought back to City Council for approval at a future date. The development agreement has been tendered by Joe Long and Gardner Village to us this evening, so we do have a signed agreement. I think, to paraphrase some of the discussion that took place during the citizen discussion, there are several reasons why the motion recommended by staff is supported. One, Joe Long and Gardner Village supports the changes to the plan and the conditions of approval. Majority of neighbors, not all, but a majority of the neighbors are in support of the changes that have been made to the plan. It will serve as a basis to let the city settle a matter of a legal complaint and not risk seeing the former modern design plan be constructed. It's a true TOD with mixed uses, 23,500 square feet of commercial, and materials and design that is complementary of Gardner Village. And it has a pedestrian flow and linkages that support the neighborhood, including a bridge to the Trax station. And the volunteer traffic mitigation would probably be difficult to extract from other developers who would approach this site. So those are the reasons why we support the recommended motion. Thank you.
Thank you. This is an item that's been heard plenty, and I'd like just a motion and an up and down vote. We had Councilmember Nichols click on first.
I do have a motion, but one clarifying question, because the packet does state that it was like 20-something units per acre, but the inside the packet, the actual ordinance number says 19.2 units. So I just wanted to confirm exactly what it is.
Yes, the ordinance says 19.25 for this phase, and I think that works.
Okay. With that, Mayor, I move that we adopt ordinance 14-11, ratifying the Planning Commission's approval, as stated in the packet with the 5 conditions of approval.
I have a motion by Councilmember Nichols.
Second.
And a second by Councilmember Stoker. Discussion to the motion? Limited discussion to the motion. Councilmember Southworth.
I have a limited comment. I just wanted to point out a couple things as we come to what I hope is an eventual end, to this phase of the development that will take place here. And there will be future things to come after this, but the road we've come down has at times been contentious. There's been friction, to say the least. But there's a few things that I think deserve highlighting. And running on a theme of some of my comments tonight, I think it is, I would like to, hope that it is broadcast far and wide and heard by all in the city of West Jordan, to know that citizens can engage in the public process and have an outcome. And know, we have one citizen that got involved who says when she started this, that somebody told her, why are you even bothering? This is paraphrasing. Why are you even bothering? Because you're not going to get anything done. Nobody listens, and it doesn't matter. That was proven wrong. From the developer standpoint, there seems to be, there's not a want to engage citizens, and we've seen here how a positive outcome can come. And from that, and I'm very, dare I say, we're proud of all parties involved that have come to the table, and they've been complimentary in the end. Complimentary of each other. Now that's a long ways to standing in these facilities, cussing at each other, to be, and I'm not exaggerating, to be complimentary of each other, and that is just a really, really neat thing. It makes what we're doing worthwhile. And to our city staff, and I think even our staff learned some things along the way, and there was lessons there, and we saw, we kind of saw a way that we didn't get it done and a way that we could get it done, and I'm just really excited to have an opportunity to witness all of this take place, and those are my limited comments for the night, so thank you.
Councilmember Hanson.
Thank you, Mayor. I, again, as Councilmember Southworth, want to congratulate both the citizens and the Cosmos and Mr. Long in working together. And the first plan that came before us was not a good plan. It was a plan nobody on the council liked. It was a plan the residents were certainly against. But residents did get involved, and that shows that we as a city council do listen to residents, as well as the developer listening to residents and trying to work out the best thing for both parties. I think you should come up 7800 South. This empty lot, dirt lot, is ugly. And I think this will improve our entrance to our city greatly. Our city cemetery is directly across the street. I have people buried there. I would like to see a very nice development instead of this dirt lot. So I congratulate both parties on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, did you have any comment?
Oh, absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I did want to express my appreciation to the neighbors. As was mentioned earlier, this has been going on for quite some time. And I've been able to get to know a lot of my neighbors a little bit better. Although many comments in council meetings have been quite fiery, when meeting with people one-on-one, everybody has been rather reasonable and very clear in what they're trying to accomplish and what their concerns were. And I really appreciated the chance for a good civic dialogue that was respectful regarding the changes that were proposed to this place, or to this piece of land. Having said that, now I'm going to say a couple comments that will sound somewhat contradictory. First of all, I'm still opposed to the idea of a number of apartment complexes here on this piece of property. I don't believe that is the highest and best use for this parcel, and I think my opposition goes the longest back. I recall with the prior council being the only one voting in opposition to making this a TC zone in the first place. I didn't feel like this was the appropriate place. That said, that did pass by the majority vote, and now it is TC, and now the developer is well within his rights to build the project that's been proposed. And although I don't think this is the best project for this parcel, I do want to commend the developer for being willing to listen to the residents and make quite a number of changes that had many of us very, very concerned. I think that what has been brought forward after a number of iterations is something that, although it's probably not perfect in the eyes of either the neighbors or the developer or the property owner. I think it's something that we can all agree on, and I think we can all live with that. And as a result, I think I would speak in favor of the motion. And again, thank everybody for their hard work, especially staff, because I know a lot of pressure on them from every different angle, trying to help the developer, trying to make them happy, trying to get everything prepared to bring to council, and then trying to make council happy, and then trying to make the neighbors happy. Staff is in a near impossible position, and I very much appreciate the work staff has done to try and accommodate everybody. And I, again, would speak in favor of the motion and thank all those involved. Thank you, Mayor.
Let's vote.
Should I do a drum roll or something? Oh, just kidding. Councilmember Hanson?
Yes.
Mayor Rolfe?
No.
Councilmember Southworth?
Aye.
Councilmember McConaughey?
Aye.
Councilmember Haga?
No.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Stoker?
Yes.
Vote passes 5-2 in favor.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to make a quick comment. I paused for a minute to do that. I'll just take a real brief moment. But there have been many thanks across the board, primarily for me, with 4 entities, really. And that goes from the citizens who engaged, the development community in the city, to the developer for being willing to have an open door to discuss this, because that actually is rare. And when I say developer, this is the third party, Joe Long, for being a participant in this process, because this was vital to have you involved. We appreciate that. And city staff are working with us patiently as it went back and forth over a long ordeal. With that also, I want to publicly acknowledge that a key player in this was the man sitting next to me here, Councilman Southworth. He singularly, on this council, saved this project. And when I say that, he engaged each one of us privately, asking what our concerns were, and he shared those with the community, and he got their concerns, and he shared those with the Colosimos to try to get all the players at the table. And I want to acknowledge him for that. Thank you.
Let me say something then, too, man.
Councilmember Hagan.
Now it's over to, but I have to commend our mayor, because back in the beginning, when this was proposed to be outrageous, it took a leader of our mayor, and I happened to be in those meetings to start discussions with the developers. Now look the developers in the eye and say, you know, we were there, we talked to you, and we came with some good, what we thought were good concessions, and it didn't go anywhere. But don't discount what happened prior to just a few weeks ago, because this whole council, and I'm going to give credit to the mayor, started this action. It's good. It's turned out good for the developer, and hopefully it's a good development for our city. So you got to always remember, we're a body. We're not one person. So, thanks.
Item 8C, discussion and direction for staff regarding the council chambers audio-video streaming system. Bryce.
Mayor, Council, for the direction you've given us, we've gone back, and I appreciate Steve Blaine's efforts to work with other staff members to get this RFP going, and so we've brought back to you the information that we received through the process. Are there any questions about the information we've provided you, and are you prepared to give us direction on what you would like us to do?
Council? Chris, this was your item. Would you like to speak to this item?
Yeah, I do have one question. I'm curious if we have any feedback as to why only 2 of the vendors that we approached responded to our RFP.
We did not pursue asking any of the companies why they did not respond. This happens quite often with other RFPs. We'll contact all the people that we know of, and received just a handful, but to answer your question, no, we did not go out and solicit reasons why they didn't submit.
Thank you. I just find it kind of interesting that one of the companies that was very engaged in providing information when we started the conversations and very engaged throughout the process, in the end didn't even end up bidding. So seeing that only 2 out of the 14 were to bid, I question if there was something in that RFP that perhaps was unclear, or perhaps something that we were asking for that was a little bit outside of what most provide. So that was my only question / comment.
Other comments? Councilmember Stoker.
No, after reviewing the information that was provided in the staff report, I feel uncomfortable with the lack of response we received, and with the prices that we were quoted, and even with the 2 people that did respond. CenturyLink provides the hosting, and Swagit provides the materials. It doesn't even feel like we got a real good feel for what we can get. I would be more in favor of continuing to engage and try to find a better opportunity to take care of the AV needs that we're looking at, rather than moving forward on the limited response that we got.
I would agree with that. Is anyone opposed to moving this item into the future and see if it's something that we want to do? Chris, is that okay with you?
Thank you, Mayor. I think my recommendation would be that we direct staff to approach the potential vendors who did not bid to find out why and see where we may have been out of place. As I'm looking at this, the $17,000 for the 1 camera, rather pricey option, and at the same time, the option that we're using tonight, WebEx, or even GoToMeeting, or there's a variety that are very, very simple along these lines that would only be a few $100s a year. So I think we should direct staff to investigate why some of these other full service did not bid, and maybe even look into less cost prohibitive methods that may provide similar functionality.
Is that okay? Okay, we'll give that direction to Bryce, and we'll move on to the next item then.
Thank you.
Item 7D, discussion and possible direction regarding Resolution 14-216, authorizing the mayor to execute an equipment lease application with Bank of the West for $200,000 for a 48-month lease, and approve a purchase agreement with YipTel for $197,620 for the purchase and installation of a new phone system.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. We talked about this at the last meeting. Again, to reaffirm, while we call it a lease, because that's what we do in government terms, we will own the product at the end of the term. Michael sent an email to all of you earlier to give you a chance to see some of the other bid prices and things that we got. Are there any questions regarding this proposed contract?
Questions? I had one. Is anyone besides myself concerned that they were less than half of the next bidder on this item? Seemed like there was a group of bids that were pretty close together, more than double this bid. So I mean, I don't know anything about phone systems. I'm not intending to, but that always concerns me.
Well, I don't believe it's going to look like the Progresso suit can, but we did have staff go out, and not just one member. We had multiple people. Arlene participated on this. Go out and look at systems, see how they were working in other cities. So I am afraid I'm not educated enough to explain, Mayor, why that is. And yeah, you're right. We should be cautious of that. But I do appreciate the fact that it was a committee that looked at these things and That was the one that they brought back. So if you would like more information, we can certainly get that, but...
No, I trust our staff. There was two other things. As I understand it, at the end of the 48 month, it's a $1 buyout, so we own it.
We will
own it. It's a lease purchase, really.
Yep.
I want to make that clear. But also, as I read the contract, we're required to have a certain wiring system within our buildings. And do we have that?
Michael's not informed me that we have any problems with the wiring that we have. I can certainly ask him about that. But it's my recollection that when we drew up the specs and said, these are the things that we need the company to meet, that those things, to my understanding, were spec'd out. But I will gladly ask Michael and confirm that we're not going to have to rewire the whole building or something.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions on this item? Councilmember Shuffle.
I don't know if I need to say it, but I did have the same concerns about what it is we're getting there that you identified. But look at that, Joe. So I've seen the committee works, and I don't want to say that it wasn't thoroughly vetted, but I certainly appreciate a second look over it, and it was concerning to me as well.
Is it just primarily that, are we just sure that for such a low price we're not getting some lowball product or something that won't perform or grow with our organization, those types of things?
I'm more concerned that we have the wiring capabilities and all the things that would add extras to the contract that are written out in the contract specifications, so that number grows back up to where the other ones quoted it. That's what my concern is. So if you can answer those questions before I sign, if this gets ratified tonight, before I sign the contract, I would be fine.
And I would word it as the potential for future change orders.
Okay.
Councilmember.
Maybe we do have caution here because we learned from our cooling system that we had, that we had steel pipes running, that were corroded. We had, what else did we have? We had bad pumps. So maybe we take a look back. Maybe the other RFPs saw some of the deficiencies in what we have. I don't know. Word of caution, that's all I'll say.
I appreciate that, and we will vet those with Michael and make sure that we've addressed those. And Mayor, I definitely invite you that if we want to have Michael just come sit down with you and make sure that you feel comfortable with those before signing it, I have no objection to that whatsoever.
Trust me, I love the cost savings if it's Councilmember Nichols.
Thank you, Mayor. I move that we approve Resolution 14-216.
We have a motion by Councilmember Nichols. Do we have a second?
I'll second it. I'll second it with a condition. I offer the friendly amendment that we have the condition that staff properly review the documents to make sure that there aren't hidden change orders anticipated with the documents.
I accept that too.
I accept this friendly amendment. So we have a motion with a friendly amendment with the second from, the motion is from Councilmember Nichols. The second with the friendly amendment is from Councilmember Stoker. Chris, did you have a comment on this item?
No, well, the only thing that stuck out to me is that I was looking at the information. It looks like they also may be able to provide some of the services that we have been proposing for video and audio of council meetings. So that a little bit tangent, but that's the only thing I would add. No other comments to the motion.
Let's vote.
Councilmember Stoker?
Yes.
Councilmember Southworth?
Aye.
Mayor Rolfe?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Hanson?
Yes.
Councilmember Haga?
Yes.
Councilmember McConaughey?
Aye.
Vote passes 7 in favor.
Okay, the final item on the agenda, I was requested late this morning to move that to our second meeting in December so some verbiage could be corrected. So That will be our last item on the agenda this evening, so I'd look for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved.
I got two of them. You have a second?
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.
Bye, Chris.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye, Chris.
The leader.
We talked about